alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to my Maktab by LMA with MLX Plus. Join me on another exciting journey as we travel through the Seerah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam and find out how Muslims accepted Islam. So today's lesson is very interesting, alhamdulillah. We are starting with the boycott of the Banu Hashim. Do you remember who the Banu Hashim were? They were the family of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam was from the Banu Hashim family. So the Quraysh and the Kuffar were continuing to persecute the Muslims of Makkah. Every day, those who had accepted Islam would be persecuted and ill-treated. And the Kuffar realized that the Iman was very steadfast. So the Quraysh decided to do another plan. What was their plan? Let us see. They decided to draw up an agreement. In this agreement, they decided that they would impose penalties. Penalties mean a punishment for doing something. So what would they do? They decided that nobody in Makkah could buy from the Banu Hashim, nobody could sell to the Banu Hashim, and nobody in Makkah could have marriage ties to the Banu Hashim. So this agreement was drawn up and hung by the Kaaba. As you can see, the terms of the agreement were very harsh. Not only that, the Kuffar took the whole of the Banu Hashim family, Muslims, and the non-Muslim members of the Banu Hashim family and exile them. Exile is a new word we learned. What does exile mean? Exile means to take someone away or to banish someone because of their religion, of their culture, for certain reasons. It is a form of punishment. So all the Banu Hashim family were exiled to the eastern part of Makkah and put into a valley. And this valley was known as Shabi Abu Talib. Shabi Abu Talib. We will see why it is known as Shabu Abu Talib a little further on. Shabi Abu Talib means the valley of Abu Talib. So the Muslims were exiled in the small valley on the eastern part of Makkah. And they were exiled from the 7th year to the 10th year after Nabuwah, meaning they were exiled in this valley for 3 years. Conditions in the valley were very harsh. There was no food or water, and the Banu Hashim family had no way to sustain themselves. Those who tried to help the Banu Hashim family were severely beaten. So many, out of fear, could not help members of the Banu Hashim family. Muslims in the valley during these 3 years suffered many sickness. The old became very sick, and the young suffered because of no food, no water. But alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala had other plans. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, after revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, told Abu Talib to tell the kuffar that ants had eaten up that agreement that was hung on the Kaaba. The kuffar were amazed. If Abu Talib was in the valley, how could he know that the ants had eaten up this agreement? So they promised Abu Talib and the Muslims, if what Abu Talib had said was true, they would free the Muslims from this exiled place. Remember the name of the place where the Muslims were exiled? Shabe Abu Talib. Because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam had approached Abu Talib to speak to the kuffar, we call this the Valley of Abu Talib. The kuffar, on going to the Kaaba, found that indeed the agreement had been eaten up by ants. But the words of Allah, Bismika Allahumma, the words of Allah had only remained. Subhanallah, this is a miracle of Allah. Only the words of Allah had remained. So a few of the kuffar still wanted the Muslims to remain in the valley, but because they had promised Abu Talib, if the words were indeed eaten up, they would free the Muslims. And Alhamdulillah, in the 10th year, Muslims were freed from their exile from this valley of Abu Talib. Remember, the conditions in this valley were very harsh. No food, no water, no form of sustenance. When the Muslims and other members of Banu Hashim came out of this valley, they came out very sick, and many had endured lots of health problems, which we are going to do in our next lesson, where we find out the effects of the boycott of Banu Hashim. So today, Alhamdulillah, please revise the term that we have learned, Shabe Abu Talib, Valley of Abu Talib. Remember the harsh terms that the kuffar had imposed upon the members of the Banu Hashim family. And remember to join me on our next lesson, where we embark on another exciting journey. Remember to revise the lessons we have learned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The kitab we are using is Seeratun Nabi, Book 3. This kitab is available from the LMA online at www.lma.org.za.